Stop looking at the robots. Stop looking at ChatGPT writing code or Midjourney painting pictures. That is a distraction. While you are worried about AI taking your job, the architects of the global financial system are worried about AI taking their collateral. We have been sold a lie. The official narrative is that artificial intelligence is the fourth industrial revolution, a tool that will make us efficient, make goods cheaper, and usher in a golden age of leisure. But what if efficiency isn't the goal? What if the goal is actually the liquidation of the single biggest asset class in human history? You. Consider this. The entire modern global economy, from the US dollar to the euro, is built on one specific thing. It's not gold. It's not oil. It is the future tax revenue extracted from your labor. Your 9-to-5 job isn't just how you feed your family. It is the security deposit for the $300 trillion global debt bubble. So here is the question that should keep you awake at night. If AI replaces 300 million jobs and income tax revenue drops to zero, who pays the interest on the debt? The answer is simple and terrifying. The system collapses, and they know it. Before we expose the receipt for this engineered collapse, I want to know who is awake out there. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments right now. We are building a global network of critical thinkers here. And if you are tired of the sanitized news, hit that subscribe button for the unfiltered truth regarding your money and your future. To understand why the AI revolution is an economic death sentence for the working class, we have to go back to the scene of the crime, 1913. Before 1913 in the United States, there was no permanent income tax. The government ran on tariffs and excise taxes. You kept what you earned. But then, two things happened almost simultaneously that locked humanity into a cage we are still sitting in today. First, the creation of the Federal Reserve, a private central bank given the power to print money and loan it to the government at interest. Second, the 16th Amendment, which legalized the federal income tax. Do you see the connection? The government needed a way to pay the interest to the bankers. They couldn't pay it with tariffs alone. They needed a new, unlimited source of revenue. That source was your labor. They securitized the American worker. They turned your future hours of sweat and stress into a financial product that they could borrow against. Now, fast forward to today. Look at the national debt. It is vertical. It creates the illusion of prosperity, but it is built on the promise that you, your children, and your grandchildren will work, earn wages, and pay taxes forever. But here is the glitch in the matrix. Throughout history, technology always complemented human labor. The steam engine didn't replace humans, it made humans more productive, creating more jobs and more wages. Sound familiar? That's exactly what the tech giants are telling you today about AI. It's just a tool. It's a co-pilot.
But let's look at the Rust Belt in the 1980s. When automation hit the factories, did those workers become more productive software engineers? No, they became unemployed, destitute, and reliant on welfare. Entire communities were hollowed out. The efficiency went entirely to the capital owners, while the labor force was left to rot. Sound familiar? Now, scale that up. We aren't talking about a few thousand factory arms. We are talking about white-collar automation. Lawyers, accountants, coders, middle managers, the people who pay the bulk of the income tax. AI doesn't just make them faster, it makes them obsolete. If 40% of the workforce is displaced, the tax base evaporates. If the tax base evaporates, the government cannot service its debt. If the government cannot service its debt, the bond market crashes. If the bond market crashes, the currency goes to zero. This isn't a recession. This is a mathematical impossibility of the current system. Remember 2008? The banks gambled with toxic mortgages, the market collapsed, and the regular taxpayer was forced to bail them out. The profits were privatized, and the losses were socialized. Sound familiar? With AI, we are facing the ultimate version of 2008, but this time, the toxic asset isn't a bad mortgage, it's human labor itself. The system is realizing that humans are expensive, slow, emotional, and inefficient. The elite are preparing to dump their human stock and move entirely into automated capital. And just like 2008, they plan to leave you holding the bag while they retreat to their lifeboats.
But here is where the story takes a dark turn. You might think the government is scrambling to stop this. You might think they are holding emergency meetings to save jobs and protect the tax base. You would be wrong. They aren't trying to save the income tax system. They are actively accelerating its destruction. Why? Because the debt is already too big to ever be paid back. They know the current financial system has reached its mathematical limit. They need a reset, a controlled demolition. The primary mechanism driving this conspiracy isn't just AI technology. It is something much more boring and much more dangerous. The sovereign debt death spiral and the human collateral liquidation. The conspiracy is that AI provides the perfect excuse to transition away from a system where they need your permission and your taxes to a system where they own everything directly. They don't need your tax money if they can simply own the AI that generates the wealth. But to make this transition, they need a bridge. They need a mechanism to keep the masses sedated while the old economy burns down and the new post-human economy is built. There is a specific economic theory, a specific plan that has been whispered about in the halls of Davos and the Federal Reserve for years. It was once considered fringe, but now it is the only way out. You won't believe the name of the concept they are using to mask this foreclosure on human freedom. It sounds like charity, but the receipt is wilder than you think. Let's strip away the noise and look at the engine of this machine. We need to perform a deep dive into the financial mechanics of the human liquidation. To understand why the AI singularity leads to financial ruin for the many, you must understand fractional reserve banking and sovereign bonds. Currently, money enters the economy when the government issues a bond, essentially an IOU. They say, "Hey, Federal Reserve, lend us $1 billion and we promise to pay you back with interest." Where does the government get the money to pay that interest? From you, from taxing your future labor. This system relies on a crucial variable, the velocity of money. You earn $1, you spend $1. The business gets taxable revenue, the employee gets taxable wages. The money moves. Now insert AI into this equation. An AI agent costs a fraction of a cent per query. It works 24/7. It demands no benefits, no pension, and crucially, it pays no income tax. When a corporation fires 5,000 employees and replaces them with an AI server farm, look at what happens to the money. First, the cost of labor drops to near zero, so corporate profits skyrocket and the stock price goes up. Second, those 5,000 people stop paying income tax, payroll tax, and into Social Security, so tax revenue collapses. Third, those 5,000 people stop buying cars, stop eating out, and stop buying houses, so the velocity of money freezes. This creates a deflationary supercycle. Prices of labor crash, but the price of assets like stocks, land, and AI computing power explodes. Let's look at the numbers. They are terrifyingly specific. $34 trillion. That is the current U.S. national debt. It is rising by $1 trillion every 100 days. This debt assumes a stable, growing tax base. 300 million. That is the number of full-time jobs Goldman Sachs predicts will be exposed to automation by generative AI. 70%. That is the percentage of the U.S. economy driven by consumer spending. If AI takes the jobs, consumer spending dies. 1971. The year Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard. Since then, productivity has doubled, but wages have stagnated. AI breaks this chart completely. Productivity goes to infinity, wages go to zero. 0%, the effective tax rate usually paid by the machinery and software that replaces you. This is greed weaponized. The corporations and the state are trapped in a prisoner's dilemma. If a company doesn't use AI, it goes bankrupt because its competitors will. So everyone must fire the humans to survive. But here is the financial paradox. If machines make all the products, but humans have no jobs to buy the products, who buys the stuff? This is where the illusion of the current stock market rally crumbles. We are witnessing parasitic finance. The market is cheering for AI because it cuts costs, ignoring the fact that it is simultaneously cutting the throat of the consumer base. So how does the system prevent total anarchy when 30% or 50% of the population is unemployed? This brings us back to the mechanism I hinted at: universal basic income via central bank digital currencies. Don't be fooled. In this context, UBI is not free money. It is severance pay for humanity. The government cannot rely on income tax anymore, so they will print money directly to fund the UBI. But if they just print money, you get hyperinflation, right? Not if they control how you spend it. This is the engineered collapse. They will let the old system, the system of cash, private banking, and income tax, implode under the weight of the AI deflationary shock. Banks will fail because unemployed people can't pay mortgages. Tax revenue will dry up. In the chaos, they will introduce the solution: a digital wallet connected directly to the Fed. They will deposit your AI dividend or UBI directly into your account. But because this money is printed out of thin air, not derived from tax revenue, it represents a total shift in power. The money you earn from a job is freedom. You traded value for value. The money you get from the government is control. It is an allowance. They are shifting the tax model. Instead of taxing your income, which you no longer have, they will tax your existence via inflation and negative interest rates on the central bank digital currency. They will program the money to expire if you don't spend it. They will dictate what you can buy. This is the liquidation of human collateral. You are no longer the asset that generates wealth for the nation. You are a liability that needs to be managed, fed, and pacified at the lowest possible cost. The AI creates the wealth for the elite. The UBI keeps the masses from revolting. It is the end of the social contract established after World War II. That contract said, if you work hard, you can buy a piece of the pie. The AI Singularity rips that contract up. Now it says, we own the pie-making machine. Here are your crumbs. Be grateful.
We are not looking at a recession. We are looking at a species-level restructuring of value. The modern system moves at the speed of light. High-frequency trading algorithms and AI decision-making mean that when the next collapse happens, it won't take months. It will happen in milliseconds. The danger isn't the robot. The danger is the moral hazard of the institutions controlling the robot. They are building a world where they are the lords. The AI is the serf, and you are obsolete. We are living in a state of denial. We trust institutions built on borrowed time. We cling to the belief that jobs will always come back. They won't. The horse didn't get a new job when the car was invented. But knowledge is the only hedge against this collapse. If you understand that your labor is being demonetized,
you can stop playing their game. You can stop trading time for money and start acquiring assets that AI cannot print and cannot replicate. You can build communities that rely on human trust, not digital handouts. We have to ask ourselves a hard question. Are we wiser now, or are we just walking the same path as 1913, but in better suits and with faster computers? If this video woke you up, do not keep it to yourself. Share it. The algorithm hates this kind of truth, so I need you to be the signal in the noise. Like this video to trigger the system, and subscribe if you want to survive the economic singularity. I'll see you on the other side.